Just 11 days ago, India saw its dream come true after 41 years of wait, when India's second astronaut, first on board the ISS, Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla, finally made his ascent to low Earth orbit on the Axiom 4 mission from NASA's Kennedy Space Center. 3 days from now, he's going to be back. He went up as an explorer for humanity and comes back a conqueror of 1.4 billion hearts. But the journey has only begun for Shubhanshu's spaceflight endeavors and India's Gaganyaan mission. Here is more to what Shubhanshu's next adventure is. A re-entry to the Earth's atmosphere looks like.
Indian Space Research Organization, AX-4 pilot Shubhanshu Shukla.
Namaste. I am Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla.
A fighter pilot for 15 years, he was selected as one of 4 Indian astronauts in 2020.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition and liftoff.
For 3 nations, a new chapter in space takes flight. Godspeed, AX-4.
T+30 seconds into flight with the Axiom 4 crew on board Dragon, headed to the International Space Station. Waiting to hear call-outs from the Falcon 9 engineering team.
आज मातृभूमि से
नमस्कार।
भारत भूमि से सबसे दूर है, लेकिन भारतवासियों के दिलों के सबसे करीब है।
5 meters.
The wait of 41 years is over.
1 meter. 2 station. 2 meters shot.
Dragon contact and soft capture complete.
Dragon Grace and the Axiom Mission 4 crew have arrived to the International Space Station at 5:31 a.m. Central Time.
Tiranga is on the ISS.
The moment that we can just clap, we have to make it. What a moment! The stop talking. Bharat Mata ki one day, one day.
And an Indian is onboarded for the first time in history.
ये जो तिरंगा आप मेरे पीछे देख रहे हैं, ये यहाँ नहीं था। आज कल के पहले जब मैं यहाँ पे आया हूँ, तब हमने ये यहाँ पे पहली बार लगाया है। तो ये बहुत भावुक करता है मुझे और बहुत अच्छा लगता है देख के कि भारत आज इंटरनेशनल स्पेस स्टेशन पहुँच चुका है।
But the journey has just begun.
आप तो मुझे भली भांति जानते हैं, जब भी किसी से बात होती है तो मैं होमवर्क जरूर देता हूं। हमें मिशन गगनयान को आगे बढ़ाना है, हमें अपना खुद का स्पेस स्टेशन बनाना है और चंद्रमा पर भारतीय एस्ट्रोनॉट की लैंडिंग भी करानी है। इन सारे मिशंस में आपके अनुभव बहुत काम आने वाले हैं।
Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla is all set to return back to Earth later this week, either on July 9th or 10th, after successfully completing his 14 days of orbiting the Earth on board the ISS.
बहुत नया एक्सपीरियंस है ये और कहीं ना कहीं बहुत सारी चीज़ें ऐसी हो रही हैं जो दर्शाती हैं कि मैं और मेरे जैसे बहुत सारे लोग हमारे देश में और हमारा भारत किस दिशा में जा रहा है। ये जो मेरी यात्रा है, ये पृथ्वी से ऑर्बिट की 400 किलोमीटर तक की जो छोटी सी यात्रा है, ये सिर्फ मेरी नहीं है। मुझे लगता है कहीं ना कहीं हमारे देश की भी यात्रा है।
The past week has been quite eventful for Group Captain Shukla, with a series of cutting-edge experiments ranging from advancing space science and human health. From studying muscle degradation in microgravity to working on cancer research and behavior of tumor cells in microgravity, Shubhanshu has engaged in scientific experiments for the greater good of humanity. But the journey isn't over yet. Shubhanshu in the next 2 days will undergo a very different experience than his launch sequence he experienced a little over 10 days ago.
Satellite is entering with what angle and the orientation of the 2 antennas. That's about the physical thing. When the atmosphere, ionosphere creates a disruption of the electromagnetic waves, there will be bending of the rays. So you may miss. These are the two important things that will affect regarding communication. Well, line of sight is the communication. If you have a line of sight between two transmitter and receiver, no problem. But you may have some reorientation at this one part of the system itself. Atmosphere may create. Suppose heavy rain, there will be another. That's a different problem.
As the SpaceX Dragon capsule named Grace prepares for re-entry, Shukla and his crewmates will face intense physical and environmental challenges. Strapped into their seats, they'll experience high G-forces as the capsule plunges through Earth's atmosphere at speeds exceeding 27,000 kilometers per hour.
When they come back in the Dragon capsule, back into the Earth, there will be stress, physical, mental and psychological stress on the astronauts. Therefore, whenever it enters, please imagine that a body is entering from no gravity to gravity, and the body experiences enormous amount of pressure. And when it enters into the atmosphere, there will be what is called as thermal shocks, which get translated into the human astronauts who are sitting inside the capsule. They will experience enormous amount of stress.
The re-entry process of Axiom 4 is a meticulously orchestrated sequence. The Dragon capsule will undock from the International Space Station's Harmony module and perform a deorbit burn to slow its speed, allowing Earth's gravity to pull it back. As it re-enters the atmosphere, friction will create a plasma sheath. The spacecraft's heat shield will endure temperatures up to 2700 degrees Celsius, protecting the crew from the fiery descent, even temporarily cutting off communication with ground control.
Even though so many redundancies and connectivities are established, it's always possible that the visibility, what we call it as the visibility of the Dragon module, when it enters into the Earth, it might get cut off. Even then, there is no issue, because it is the capsule will be in auto mode. Of course, it depends upon the situation when the communication is going to be lost.
At about 20 meters above the Pacific Ocean, drag parachutes will deploy, followed by main parachutes, ensuring a soft splashdown off the coast of California, expected either on July 9th or 10th. Upon splashdown, recovery teams from SpaceX and NASA will swiftly retrieve the Dragon capsule and assist Shukla and his crewmates. The 2-week journey to space, while shorter, still takes a toll on the body.
आपके प्यार और आशीर्वाद से सुरक्षित मैं इंटरनेशनल स्पेस स्टेशन पे पहुंच चुका हूं, और बहुत आसान दिख रहा है यहाँ खड़े होना, लेकिन थोड़ा सा मुश्किल है, थोड़ा सा सर भारी है, थोड़ी तकलीफ हो रही है, लेकिन ये सब बहुत छोटी चीज़ें हैं और कुछ ही दिनों में हम इसके यूज्ड टू हो जाएंगे। मैं बहुत उत्साहित हूँ और मैं अपने शोल्डर पे अपना तिरंगा जो मैं लेके चल रहा हूँ, मैं मानता हूँ कि आप सब मेरे साथ हैं, तो मैं ये भी समझ लेता हूँ कि आप सब भी मेरे साथ उत्साहित हैं, और मुझे लगता है कि अगले 14 दिन बहुत ही एक्साइटिंग जाने वाले हैं।
When the astronauts go to ISS, they are completely exposed to sun radiation, which would definitely affect the body of the human beings. In microgravity, there is a possibility of mass loss, and also it has been reported that way. There is possibility of mass loss, that is, the body will lose its mass and the bone will lose its calcium and it become brittle. This is the second issue. Third health issue is the retina, the eyes, which are really important, would really get affected because of the microgravity.
After splashdown, the astronauts will undergo immediate medical evaluations to assess their health after 2 weeks of stay in microgravity, focusing on muscle and bone density, cardiovascular function, and neurological responses.
Shubhanshu Shukla, even when he is in ISS, he is being continuously monitored for all vital parameters. As soon as the splashdown happens, first thing will be to make them comfortable with respect to stretching of the legs, hands, etc. Because they would be like like a child. They would not be able to stand because they have come from zero gravity to gravity situation. They will not be able to stand. They will need help in terms of like a child. They would need help in terms of standing, walking, and then once that happens, initial checks of all the vital parameters happens. Initial, they are given the first aid in terms of the energy requirements, in terms of the oxygen requirement, in terms of the fluids requirement, etc. Then they will be subjected to the complete health check in terms of physical, mental, psychological conditions, where every part of the human body, every vital part will be thoroughly checked.
Shukla will then be transported to a NASA facility for further debriefing and rehabilitation to readjust to Earth's gravity. Subsequently, Shukla is expected to receive a hero's welcome in India, with his family waiting for him with bated breath.
We want his safe return back to Earth, and my only message to him would be that he should keep his head on his shoulders and his feet firmly on the ground, and that will stand him in very good stead.
Shubhanshu's insights will provide a key roadmap to ISRO's scientists to refine India's Gaganyaan protocols.
Entire cycle of sending an astronaut and back is a thorough experience and a necessity for our Gaganyaan project, which is impending in 2026 and 2027. In addition to this, Shubhanshu Shukla is also carrying out 7 experiments in the space. Those are those experiments which are really important for us. Another experiment is also the cancer-related experiment which he is performing there in the space, which are directly impactable for the human beings on the Earth. We can see the mass loss and the bone loss, bone density loss is not uncommon in the Earth also.
ये पूरा मिशन की ट्रेनिंग लेने के दौरान और एक्सपीरियंस करने के दौरान जो मुझे लेसन्स मिले हैं, जो मुझे सीख मिली है, वो सब एक स्पॉन्ज की तरह मैं एब्जॉर्ब कर रहा हूँ और मुझे यकीन है कि ये सारी चीज़ें बहुत वैल्यूएबल प्रूव होंगी, बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट होंगी हमारे लिए जब मैं वापस आऊँगा और हम इन्हें इफेक्टिवली अपने मिशंस में इनके लेसन्स अप्लाई कर सकेंगे और जल्दी से जल्दी उन्हें पूरा कर सकेंगे. बिकॉज मेरे साथी जो मेरे साथ आए थे, कहीं ना कहीं उन्होंने भी मुझसे पूछा कि हम कब गगनयान पे जा सकते हैं, जो सुन के मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा और मैंने बोला कि जल्दी ही. तो मुझे लगता है कि ये सपना बहुत जल्दी पूरा होगा और मेरी जो सीख मुझे यहाँ मिल रही है वो मैं वापस आके उसको अपने मिशन में पूरी तरह से 100% अप्लाई करके और उनको जल्दी से जल्दी पूरा करने की कोशिश करेंगे.
Shubhanshu's journey is not just going to be a watershed moment for India's human spaceflight endeavors, but is also going to be a watershed moment for aspirations of 1 billion Indians.
No, I think, as you rightly mentioned, it's a huge, it's a quantum leap. And of course, after 40 years, an Indian astronaut has gone up, but there's a huge difference between the expedition that happened in 1984, where Rakesh Sharma went. Of course, Rakesh Sharma is still around. He's been very cooperative in all our missions, even in Bengaluru. He's been working with our team ISRO. But the difference then and now is that at that time our space program was just in infancy. There was not much to offer and not much was expected of India, nor did we look for too much. But today, India is an equal partner. It is not only collaborating in the scientific experiments, but rather playing a leading role.
Now, a different countdown has begun. One of homecoming, as India's star is set to return from the expanse of space back to the warm cradle of Mother Earth. And we wish Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla and the crew of Axiom 4 a safe and a soft splashdown.